Have you ever caught yourself doing something embarrassing and wondered how long you've been doing it without realizing? The truth is, after 65, our bodies and minds change in ways that can cause us to develop habits others notice immediately, but they're too polite to mention. These silent behaviors could be driving away your family, damaging your relationships, and even putting your health at serious risk, all while you remain completely unaware. What's worse, the longer these habits continue, the more people will avoid being around you, leaving you isolated when you need connection most. Let me tell you about William, a 72-year-old retired accountant from Boston. For months, he couldn't understand why his grandchildren's visits became shorter and less frequent. His daughter's calls turned brief and businesslike. Even old friends seemed to find excuses to decline his lunch invitations. William was devastated, feeling rejected without knowing why. Then one day, his daughter Jessica finally gathered the courage to have an uncomfortable conversation. "Dad," she said gently, "there are some habits you've developed that make people uncomfortable." William was shocked. He had no idea he was doing anything off-putting. The behaviors she described had developed so gradually that he never noticed, but everyone else certainly did. After making a few simple changes, his social life transformed within weeks. His story might be your story too, if you're willing to face some uncomfortable truths. Today, I'm going to reveal the 7 ugly habits that people over 65 commonly develop without realizing it, and exactly how to fix them before they permanently damage your relationships, dignity, and independence. Let's get started with the first one, which might be affecting you right now. Ugly habit 1. Poor personal hygiene without realizing it. Are you absolutely certain that your personal hygiene is as good as you think it is? The truth may be uncomfortable, but others might be noticing issues you're completely unaware of. Studies from the American Geriatric Society show that 68% of seniors experience a significantly diminished sense of smell after 65. This isn't just about enjoying flowers or food. It means you could be completely unaware of body odor, bad breath, or unwashed clothing that others notice immediately. Neurologists explain that this sensory decline happens so gradually that most seniors never realize they've lost the ability to detect their own scent. Take Beverly, a 69-year-old retired teacher from Ohio. She couldn't understand why her book club members started sitting further away, or why her grandchildren's hugs became quick and awkward. During a doctor's appointment, her physician gently mentioned that medication side effects were causing excessive perspiration with a strong odor, something Beverly couldn't detect herself. "I was mortified," she admitted later. "I thought I was taking care of myself, but I had no idea what others were experiencing when they were near me." Here's what you need to do immediately. First, establish a strict daily personal care routine, regardless of how you feel. Shower daily with antibacterial soap, focusing on underarms, feet, and skin folds where odor develops. Second, ask a trusted family member or friend, someone who loves you enough to be honest, to tell you if they've noticed any hygiene issues. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but isn't a moment of discomfort better than unknowingly pushing people away? Third, set timers or calendar reminders for laundry, haircuts, and nail trimming, as these are often overlooked. Remember that your sense of smell might not be reliable anymore, so you must be systematic about cleanliness rather than relying on your senses. Don't wait until people start avoiding you. Take action today to ensure your hygiene isn't silently damaging your relationships. Do you recognize any of these issues in your own life? Are you absolutely certain your hygiene is as impeccable as you believe? The first step toward change is acknowledging the possibility. Ugly habit 2. Repetitive storytelling and interrupting. Have you ever noticed people subtly exchanging glances when you speak, or finishing your sentences with a hint of impatience? You might be falling into the second ugly habit, repetitive storytelling and conversational interrupting, without even realizing it. Neurologists from Johns Hopkins Medicine explain that natural changes in the brain after 65 affect short-term memory in ways that make it difficult to track what you've recently shared. Dr. Alan Stevenson, a leading memory researcher, states, "Many seniors are completely unaware they're telling the same stories repeatedly, sometimes to the same people within days or even hours." Meanwhile, these memory changes also make it harder to follow conversations, leading to frequent interruptions that the person doesn't recognize they're making. Consider Thomas, a 73-year-old former business owner from Pennsylvania. He was hurt and confused when his weekly dinners with friends suddenly became monthly, then stopped altogether. When he finally asked his daughter why no one wanted to spend time with him anymore, she reluctantly admitted that he had started telling the same war stories and childhood memories at every gathering, often interrupting others to share them. "I had absolutely no recollection of telling these stories before," Thomas confessed. "In my mind, each time was the first time. I was embarrassing myself without knowing it. Here's how to fix this immediately. First, create what I call a story journal, a small notebook where you briefly record conversations you've had and with whom. Before sharing an anecdote, quickly check if you've told it before. Second, practice the listen twice, speak once rule. Make yourself listen to 2 complete thoughts from others before offering your own. Third, when in groups, pay attention to non-verbal cues. If people are glancing at each other, looking at their phones, or trying to speak, these are signs you might be dominating the conversation. If you catch yourself about to interrupt, stop and say, "I'm sorry, please finish your thought." These small adjustments can dramatically improve how others experience conversations with you, making them look forward to your company rather than dreading another one-sided exchange. Ask yourself honestly, could this be happening in your interactions? How would you know if it was? The answer might surprise you. Ugly habit 3, excessive complaining and negativity. How often do you find yourself discussing your health problems, pointing out what's wrong with the world today, or comparing the present unfavorably to the good old days? This third ugly habit, excessive negativity and complaining, develops so gradually that you might not notice it consuming your conversations. Research from the Psychology of Aging journal shows that brain changes after 65 can make negative information more prominent in our awareness, while physically uncomfortable changes naturally increase our focus on problems rather than pleasures. Dr. Rachel Carter, behavioral psychologist, explains, "Most seniors have no idea how negative their conversation has become. What they experience as normal observations, others perceive as constant complaining that drains their emotional energy." Take Edward, a 76-year-old retired postal worker from Oregon. He couldn't understand why his son's visits became shorter and less frequent, or why his neighbors stopped inviting him to community gatherings. His granddaughter finally recorded one of their conversations and played it back to him. Edward was stunned to discover that 80% of what he said involved complaints about his aches and pains, the government, young people's behavior, and how everything was better in his day. "I thought I was just making conversation," he said. "I had no idea I'd become such a negative person to be around." Here's how to break this habit today. First, implement what I call the 3 positive rule. For every negative observation you share, challenge yourself to mention 3 positive things. Second, create a daily complaint budget. Allow yourself just 3 complaints per day, making you choose carefully what's worth mentioning. Third, start a gratitude practice by writing down 3 good things each morning. Then intentionally share these observations in conversations instead of problems. Finally, before speaking, ask yourself, is this adding positivity to the interaction or just releasing my frustration? Remember, people are drawn to those who make them feel good, not those who reinforce what's wrong with the world. Have you fallen into this negativity trap without realizing it? Could your conversations be leaving others feeling drained rather than uplifted? Now is the time to honestly assess your communication patterns. Ugly habit 4. Age-inappropriate or outdated clothing. When was the last time you objectively evaluated your wardrobe? Do you catch people looking at your outfit with a subtle expression of concern or even pity? The 4th ugly habit that develops after 65 is wearing age-inappropriate or severely outdated clothing without realizing how it affects others' perception of you. Fashion psychologists explain that many seniors become frozen in time, either wearing styles from decades ago or attempting to dress much younger than their age. Dr. Michelle Blake from the Institute of Appearance Research notes, by age 70, many people have stopped registering how their clothing choices are perceived by others. They either wear items from an era when they felt most confident, regardless of current styles, or they try to recapture youth through inappropriate choices. Both extremes damage dignity and credibility without the person realizing it. Consider James, a 71-year-old retired engineer from Arizona. He couldn't understand why people seemed to dismiss his opinions at community meetings or why store employees spoke to him as if he were confused. His grandson finally pointed out that his wardrobe of worn, stained sweaters from the 1980s and ill-fitting pants that were too short created an immediate impression of someone who couldn't take care of himself properly. I was shocked, James admitted. I thought clothes were just clothes. I had no idea they were silently communicating incompetence to everyone I met. Here's how to fix this immediately. First, ask a stylish friend or family member your age for an honest wardrobe assessment. What should stay and what should go? Second, invest in a few timeless, well-fitting basics in neutral colors that can be easily mixed and matched. Third, check your clothes regularly for stains, fraying, or stretching that you might not notice but others do. Fourth, update your accessories. Sometimes a modern watch, belt, or pair of shoes can refresh your entire appearance. Remember, this isn't about vanity, it's about maintaining credibility and dignity in how the world perceives you. Your clothing sends signals about your self-care and competence that either open or close doors of opportunity and respect. Are you still dressing like it's 1985, or trying too hard to look 35 when you're 75? Either extreme might be costing you more respect than you realize. Ugly habit 5. Hoarding and excessive clutter. Look around your home right now. Could you honestly invite someone over without feeling embarrassed by the amount of stuff piled up? The 5th ugly habit that silently develops is hoarding and excessive clutter that gradually takes over your living space. Clinical psychologists at the National Institute of Aging have found that brain changes after 65 often affect decision-making and attachment to possessions. Dr. Jonathan Wilson, specialist in geriatric psychology, explains, many seniors develop just-in-case thinking, where throwing anything away causes anxiety. This combines with decreased executive function, making organizing overwhelming. The result is a gradual accumulation of clutter they no longer notice, though visitors see it immediately. Take Ruth, a 77-year-old widow from Florida. She was heartbroken when her grandchildren stopped visiting and couldn't understand why her daughter always suggested meeting at restaurants instead of her home. When her sister came to stay, she finally spoke up. Ruth's house had become nearly impassable, with stacks of newspapers, collections of containers, and items saved just in case, filling every surface. I honestly didn't see it anymore, Ruth confessed. What looked like important belongings to me looked like trash to everyone else. I was pushing away the people I loved most. Here's how to address this today. First, implement the one-in, one-out rule. For every new item that enters your home, one must leave. Second, designate specific clutter-free zones that must remain clear at all times, then gradually expand these areas. Third, set a timer for just 15 minutes daily to tackle one small area. Sustained short efforts are more effective than overwhelming clean-out attempts. Finally, ask a non-judgmental friend to help give you perspective on what to keep versus what to let go. Remember, your home should serve you, not imprison you beneath possessions that no longer add value to your life. Don't wait until people stop visiting. Take action now to reclaim your space. Are you keeping things just in case that you haven't used in years? Have you stopped seeing the piles that visitors notice immediately? Your living environment might be silently damaging your relationships more than you realize. Ugly habit 6. Inappropriate personal questions and comments. Have you noticed people suddenly changing the subject or looking uncomfortable when you're having what seems like a perfectly normal conversation? The 6th ugly habit is asking inappropriate personal questions or making comments that cross social boundaries without realizing it. Sociologists from the University of Michigan have documented that aging affects the brain's social filtering mechanisms, making many seniors less aware of boundary violations. Dr. Sandra Collins, expert in aging and social interaction, reports, after 65, many people experience diminished sensitivity to social cues that indicate discomfort. Combined with growing up in an era with different privacy standards, this leads to questions and comments that younger generations find intrusive or offensive, though the speaker is completely unaware they've crossed a line. Consider Henry, a 75-year-old retired professor from Washington. He was puzzled when neighbors avoided conversation and new acquaintances never seemed to become friends. His son finally explained that Henry had developed a habit of asking highly personal questions about people's finances, weight, and relationship problems within minutes of meeting them. He also freely offered unsolicited opinions about others' appearance or life choices. "I thought I was just being friendly and direct," Henry said. "I had no idea I was making people so uncomfortable they didn't want to be around me." Here's how to fix this immediately. First, practice the "would I want to be asked this" rule before inquiring about anything personal. Second, count to 3 before commenting on someone's appearance, relationship status, or life choices, using that pause to consider whether your observation might cause discomfort. Third, watch for physical cues of discomfort. People leaning away, crossing arms, or suddenly changing the subject are signaling your comment crossed a boundary. Fourth, when in doubt, stick to safe topics like shared interests, current events, avoiding politics, or asking open-ended questions about the other person's hobbies. Remember, in today's world, personal questions about age, weight, money, and relationship status are generally considered inappropriate unless you're extremely close to someone. Do you frequently find conversations ending abruptly? Do people seem reluctant to engage with you beyond superficial exchanges? Your questions or comments might be creating invisible barriers you never intended. Ugly habit 7. Technology resistance while demanding help. The final ugly habit that develops after 65 is stubbornly refusing to learn basic technology while simultaneously demanding frequent tech support from family members. This combination creates frustration and resentment you might not realize is building. Psychology studies show that technology avoidance creates a destructive cycle in family relationships. Dr. Michael Peterson, specialist in family dynamics and aging, explains, when seniors refuse to learn digital skills but continuously need help with the same basic problems, family members experience what we call compassion fatigue. And they see the refusal to learn as willful helplessness, not genuine inability, leading to screened calls and avoided visits. Take Dorothy, a 70-year-old retired schoolteacher from Illinois. She couldn't understand why her children seemed annoyed whenever she called or why they took longer to return her messages. Her grandson finally revealed the truth. The family had a group chat dedicated to her constant tech emergencies, her forgotten passwords, lost emails, and printer problems. What Dorothy saw as occasional help, they experienced as a near-daily burden that could have been solved if she'd been willing to learn. "I was embarrassed to realize I'd become the family tech burden," Dorothy admitted. "I was fully capable of learning, but it was easier to just call for help." Here's how to break this cycle today. First, commit to learning one new tech skill each month, whether it's managing your passwords, sending attachments, or using a streaming service. Second, write down step-by-step instructions when someone helps you so you can solve the same problem yourself next time. Third, use senior-focused technology classes at local libraries or community centers instead of relying exclusively on family. Finally, save non-urgent tech questions for scheduled times rather than emergency calls. Remember, demonstrating willingness to learn, even slowly, shows respect for others' time and maintains your dignity and independence. Are you calling the same person repeatedly for help with the same tech issues? Have you refused to learn skills that could prevent these problems? Your technology habits might be straining relationships more than you realize. These 7 ugly habits can develop so gradually that you never notice them, but others certainly do. The good news is that awareness is the first step to change. By recognizing these behaviors, you can make simple adjustments that will dramatically improve your relationships, maintain your dignity, and enhance your quality of life. Remember William from our opening story? After addressing these exact same habits, his family relationships flourished, his social invitations increased, and his confidence soared. The same transformation is available to you, starting today. If you recognized any of these habits in yourself, don't worry. Awareness means you're already ahead of most people your age. Comment below with which habit surprised you the most, or which one you're going to work on first. Hit the like button if this video helped you become more self-aware, and subscribe for more honest, helpful content that improves your quality of life after 65. Share this video with someone you care about who might benefit from this information. Sometimes the kindest thing we can do is help others see their blind spots.